All right. I'm going to be hopping into a story I heard or actually read today, the butterfly effect. You might have heard of the butterfly effect, but as I was reading the 7 Decisions by Andy Andrews today, he gave a story of one butterfly effect. And I thought it was really interesting. And I wanted to share it with you because sometimes, especially trying to start out in anything, your business, your podcast, you might not think that what you do matters. Might not think that your story matters, but it does. It can have impact along the way. So I wanted to kind of give this kind of paraphrase version of the story he shared in that book, just about the butterfly effect. So basically, there was a news story, and they were talking about how Norman Borlaug was going to win, or did win, the Nobel Peace Prize for hybridized corn and wheat that helped people in arid countries and actually saved over 2 billion lives with this discovery, with this new thing through this hybridized corn. And so he was winning the Nobel Peace Prize, and so he was getting all the credit and the notoriety. Oh my goodness. He was getting all the publicity for the Nobel Peace Prize. Sorry, I can't talk today, but he went deeper in it and said, but is it really Norman Borlaug we should be thanking for saving these 2 billion lives? Because along Norman's journey, there's a time where a man named Henry Wallace was in the picture. And Henry Wallace, if you know, was the VP for Franklin D. Roosevelt's first term. And FDR hired him to run kind of this operation down in Mexico to figure out how to hybridize corn and wheat for this. So Henry Wallace was assigned this task of getting this together and bringing people in that could get this done. And he hired Norman Borlaug to run that hybridized corn and wheat initiative. And so it could be Henry Wallace that we could be thanking for saving these 2 billion lives, right? But it can go even farther than that. You might have heard of a man named George Washington Carver. And back in the day, he was a student at Iowa State, and he had a professor. And this professor actually let his own son go with Carver on some botanical expeditions on the weekends. So this professor, trusting Carver and liking Carver, let his son go with him. And so Carver, had interactions with this young boy and got this boy passionate about plants and, nature and life. And that little boy was Henry Wallace. And so George Washington Carver, impacted Henry Wallace at a young age and gave him the passion for plants, for nature, for, making a difference through outdoors. So maybe it's George Washington Carver we can thank for Norman Borlaug's Nobel Peace Prize through hybridized corn, right? Because he, set the wings in motion with Henry Wallace back in the day. But even before then, there was a farmer in Diamond, Missouri. And in Diamond, Missouri at the time, this farmer, slavery was going on. And this farmer did not believe in slavery. Him and his wife, Moses, and his wife, Susan, they did not believe in slavery. So they had workers that were friends that they were free to come and go if they wanted, and treated them well. Think kind of, if you've seen the movie The Patriot, how they were, they just worked a job as free individuals. But unfortunately, in that area, there were raiders that came through and eventually came through Moses's farm and burned buildings, killed livestock, killed people, and took some of his workers. And one of the workers was a lady who was really good friends with Moses's wife, Susan. And this lady had a baby, and they took both the baby, the baby and the wife, because they thought they should be slaves, and Moses didn't. So they took this mother and child. And because they were so good friends with Moses and Susan, Moses made sure to reach out and schedule a meeting with these raiders. And he finally got a word around to them, and they got it set up a couple hours north of their farm. And so Moses rode several hours to have this meeting with the raiders, not knowing if he would, just be killed among the rest of them, or what he would find. But he went to try to get this mother and child back. And when he got to the meeting with the raiders, he realized that they had already killed the mother. They had already, unfortunately, killed her. But he decided, because the baby was still alive, he would trade his last horse for the child. And so the raiders, for whatever reason, said, okay. They took the horse and they threw this potato sack to Moses. And inside was this young child, this baby, who was almost dead, freezing. It was night. It was cold, and he was close to death. So Moses took the child from the bag and put him in his jacket. Kind of opened it up, put him in his jacket, and started talking to him, saying, "Hey, we're gonna save you. We're gonna take care of you." Walked the several hours that it took him to get there on horseback. So multiply that by in walking. So he walked back in the freezing night with his child in his coat, keeping him warm, keeping him safe, talking to him, saying, I'm going to raise you as my own child. Doesn't matter the race. It doesn't matter the differences we have. You're going to be like my own son. And I'm going to give you my name, and I'm going to make sure you get education, and I'm going to make sure that you have a successful life. So this farmer from Missouri raised this baby and gave him his name. And that baby, his new name was George Washington Carver. So maybe these 2 billion lives that were saved by hybridized corn and wheat by Norman Borlaug truly could be, the credit could be given to a farmer in Missouri who did the right thing, made the right choice, who impacted a young life, a baby, who turned into be George Washington Carver, who then influenced another young individual in Henry Wallace, who went on to being hired or to be given that job of figuring out hybridized corn by the President of the United States, who then hired Norman Borlaug. And Norman Borlaug was able to accomplish that and save 2 billion lives. But it was one flap of a butterfly's wing, per se, many, many years prior, that set in motion that event. Those 2 billion lives were saved from a moment many, many years before. And so if you're out there thinking, if I start a podcast, I don't have anything to say. No one wants to listen. What good can my story or what I have to share do? Okay. Maybe it's a business. You have an idea to start a business. There's so many people doing that already. What good would it be for me to start that business? There's too many already doing it. We get these limiting beliefs, this fear we allow to get in front of us, when our decision to go through with that podcast, to go through with starting that business, could be the flap of the butterfly that has the ripple down the road to make a huge impact. We can't see it. Moses, that farmer from Missouri, he never saw the 2 billion lives that were saved through Norman Borlaug. He didn't know that was going to happen. He just did the right thing. He knew that he could save that child, and he was going to try. So your story matters. What you have to bring to the world matters. You have potential to make a difference in a positive way. Don't let the fear of the unknown or being scared of, what might happen stop you from doing the right thing. Going out there and putting yourself out there, trying something new. Because it's those moments that shape the future. It's those moments that increase the positive ripples in the world. Because you're created with a purpose and potential that only you can fulfill. And if we don't live into that, a lot of people could miss out on the benefit. And we can't see the future, and we don't know what's going to happen if we take the chance, if we put ourselves out there. But we can only hope, right? If we do the right things, if we, take a chance and we try to make a difference, that those ripples will be felt whether we know it or not. Someone listening to your podcast, it could be someone younger, a teenager, or even younger if their parents are listening to it in the car. They could pick up on something you talk about on your podcast, and that could set the wheels in motion in their mind for them to do something, for them to accomplish something greater that can impact millions from your show, from one episode of your podcast. It can have that effect. And it might sound crazy and far-fetched, but it's true. And maybe your business, you have an idea, to make a difference somehow, to solve a problem in the world. And you might think, there's too many people already doing that, but no one's you, and no one can bring your personality, your spin on it. And so when you put it out there, you can make an impact. You can make a difference. If it's a coach, you could be the one that helps somebody turn their life around and go out and they then do amazing things that without you, because they'd never met you and they didn't find any other coach, they would have never accomplished what they truly could. So it's those singular moments that we have to decide to take action on that ripple forward. And again, we might never see those positive fruits being gathered from the seeds we plant, but we can hope and rely on that if we do the right thing, we do our best, that positive things will come from it. And so I just wanted to share that because it really stuck out to me today reading just that butterfly effect, because it's just a crazy thing. And you could probably even pass Moses, that farmer from Missouri, you could probably keep tracking it back to things that people have done or decisions they made that made him believe the things he believed. That slavery is wrong, that, everyone is a human being and should be treated that way. So something in his past helped him have that mindset, which helped him make that choice. And it can be said in your life too, where you are right now. There are decisions people have made previously, good and bad, that have led you to where you are. And if we can take the positive from it and continue to move forward with that, our ripples, those positive effects from our lives can continue on. So just encouragement for us all, do the hard thing, do the right thing, even if it's hard, because we can have our own butterfly effect in the world. And, hundreds of years from now, people could still be seeing that effect. So don't let fear stop you. Don't let fear hinder your ability to make a difference in the world. And I just want to share that today. Let me know if you're watching this on replay. If something stuck out with you, share this, tag somebody in it who, maybe you've been talking about butterfly effects, or they're trying to do something hard and don't know if it's worth it. Just share it with them. Let's make a difference in more people's lives and let our ripple expand out. So go out there, continue to crush it, do a great job, and just be pencil leaders.